Krishna Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Saranandana Bhajajana Suranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Saranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Saranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Tira Vanachari Samadhira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Baradhari Saranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Saranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shamunatira Vanachari Shamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Yasoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Shara Vanachari Shara Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Yasoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Shamunatira Vanachari Shamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Yasoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Shamunatira Vanachari Shamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Giridhari Gobijana Balaba Girivaradari Sadanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Sadanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Savanatira Vanachari Samunatira Vanachari Sarada Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Stotara Sada Srimad. His Divine Grace A.T. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Jago Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinatha Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Rat Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Gangamaya Ki Jai. Gangamaya Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Nam. Hari Nama Samkirtana ki jai, Shri Govardhana Dhamma ki jai, Nama Veda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shama Veda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaivam narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiyayat. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shlokir bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. What is it? 12th chapter? 13th chapter? Verse number 9, is it? Okay. Brahmo Vacha Pitrit. Let's see. Pitrastubhyamaham teata swastastadvam kshiktishvara yat nirvatalikena hida sarimetyatmana pritam brahmovacha pritastubhyamaham teta tata swasti stadvam kshitishvara yannivaratalikena hida sarimetyatmana pritam brahmovacha pritastubhyamaham teata swasti stadvam kshitishvara Yanivarya likena hirida sarimetyatmana pitam. Brahmovacha, Brahma said, Pritaha, pleased, Tubhyam, unto you, Aham, I, Tata, my dear son, Svasti, all blessings, Stat, let there be, Vam, unto you both, Shiti Ishvara, O Lord of the world, Yat, because, Nirvyalikena, without reservation, Frida, by the heart, Sadhi, Shadi, give instruction, Ma, unto me, Iti, thus, Atmana, by self. Arpitam, surrendered. Translation. Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have, without reservation, surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The relationship between the father and the son is always sublime. The father is naturally disposed with goodwill toward the son, and he is always ready to help the son in his progress in life. But in spite of the father's goodwill, the son is sometimes misguided because of his misuse of personal independence. every living entity, however small or big he may be, has the choice of independence. If the son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the father is 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. The father and son relationship, as exhibited here in the dealings of Brahma and Manu, is excellent. Both the father and the son are well qualified, and their example should be followed by humankind. Manu, the son, unreservedly asked the father, Brahma, to instruct him, and the father, who was full of Vedic wisdom, was very glad to instruct. The example of the father of mankind may be rigidly followed by mankind, and that will advance the cause of the relationship of fathers and sons. The verse again, Lord Brahma said, O dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have, without reservation, surrendered yourself unto me, with your heart, and for my instructions. Actually, I prepared for another verse, but I'm going to speak on this one anyway. In a previous verse, Prabhupada was saying to Lord Shiva in gentle words that you are my son, and therefore I'm blessing you. The gentle words spoken were called Sardana Vacha. Vacha means speech, and Sardana, I guess it means gentle. Prabhupada was very expert at using gentle words. Sometimes when he was accosted by his then roommate in the Bowery, he said that he ill-named me. Ill-named means that he swore at him, but Prabhupada didn't use those words. He just said he ill-named me. In another place, he said that a doctor murdered one of his patients. And the reason that he murdered his patients was that the patient was, as Prabhupada said, implicated, quote unquote, with his wife. And he didn't go on into the gory details about what implicated means, but we also sort of know what it meant. So in that verse, Prabhupada didn't like the fact that he had to create the whole world, and in the fact of creating the whole world, he had to create some madness or some non-Krishna conscious people. In this sense, everybody has the free will to act towards Krishna or away from Krishna, whatever they want to do. So Brahma created all those people too that were against Krishna. And when there were the 4 Kumaras, he actually ordered them to progenate the universe, but they refused because they wanted to remain brahmacharis. So Lord Brahma had to reconstitute his direction so that everyone would be free from this desire to remain celibate throughout their whole life. But this shows that even Brahma was not free from anger. He's a conditioned soul in the sense that he's very, very elevated, but also very conditioned. One of the Goswamis said that he was 78% of the principles of Narayan. I don't know where he got that percentage, but maybe from some of the other Goswamis. I think Manibandha knows the exact location of who said it, but he is said to be 78%, and that all of us can attain to that percentage of Krishna consciousness, 78%, if we desire to, and we become free. So, in one sense, the Brahma was controlled by the mode of passion, and he even lusted after his own daughter, which is an example of extreme passion. Of course, he ended that particular kalpa, that lifetime of Brahma, and created something that was free from passion. And Shiva was sometimes he is known as being very liberal. He would give blessings to anyone, no matter what they asked for. And one devotee asked his blessing that whose head he touched would break into pieces. And he wanted to test it by testing Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma had to flee away from him. And he had to seek the shelter. It took him about 1 year of running. And he caught up with Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu finally intervened and made it possible, because he approached Vitrasura, and Vitrasura was very enamored with Krishna because he was a very innocent-looking young boy, and so somehow or other he deluded Brahma into thinking that whatever he said would be true. So Lord Brahma suggested to Vitrasura that he test the benediction on his own head and see if it would break it into pieces. So somehow or other, in a foolish gesture, he did that, and his head was broken into pieces, and therefore Lord Shiva was saved from the blessings he gave to Vitrasura. So Lord Shiva has that reputation for being very liberal and giving blessings to anyone who asks for it, whatever they may be. So he's very glorified and very famous in all of India. People worship him, and sometimes it's questioned as to why such blessings can be given. And even Krishna created, he ultimately was the creator of the material world, and there are many aspects of the material world that are not very pleasant, such as warfare and killing and drinking and intoxicating in various ways. So sometimes it's questioned how even those people like Kamsa and Shishupala's arrangement for Krishna's marriage to Rukmini be allowed, and how they can even go to the spiritual kingdom even after they're expired. So Prabhupada gives the example of in Nectar of Devotion, you can go to the spiritual kingdom, but not into the palace of the king. So their liberation, like that of Shishupala and Ravana, was in the Brahmajyoti. It wasn't in the essential part of Krishna's place, Krishna's palace, Krishna's abode, Goloka Vrindavan. They had to come back to the material world. So sometimes it's mentioned about how Putana could have become Krishna's mother, which is a more advanced stage. But because she allowed Krishna to suck her breast, she was given the liberation of being his mother. And so it was a very high form of liberation, because she had that very intimate relationship. So this is Krishna's ability of Bhava Guranahi Janardana, that you can do anything in relation to Krishna, but Krishna takes only the good side of things. So he took only the good side of Putana, who wanted to nurse Krishna, and he accepted her as his mother. Whereas in the case of Shishupala and Ravana, they had to return to the material world. They were only temporarily liberated. Liberation is a kind of generic term. It means to be free from the material world, whether one is an impersonalist. And it's mentioned in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that there are 3 levels of devotion. One is Sri Bhagavan, one is Paramatma, and one is Brahmajyoti, or Brahma. And one can attain to that more easily, but it's not very easy to go from there into the spiritual sky to attain Krishna's abode and Krishna's planet. With the Kumaras, they were an exception. They were able, because they became enamored with Krishna, they were able to go to the spiritual world. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was also trained as an impersonalist, but later on he became elevated to the position of Krishna Loka, because he somehow or other attained that position. So there are instances where someone can go from the Brahmajyoti to Krishna Loka. It's not usual, it's not very customary, but it does happen on occasion. So Prabhupada was very very gentle in his speech, and he even sometimes told jokes. He told the joke. It wasn't exactly a joke, but when he was lecturing, I think it was in 1967 at Allen Ginsberg's place, Ohio University, and he was talking about the communists, how they would say, well, we will give you bread. You can't get bread just by chanting the mantra. And so then Prabhupada said, he said to the crowd, are you interested in Krishna consciousness or in bread consciousness? And that created a bit of a chuckle among the audience to say, are you into bread consciousness? And then at the near the end of one of his lectures, I think I spoke about this. He said that we have many enemies, but we don't care for them. And then he ended the lecture by saying, and Johnny Walker is still going strong. And people sort of wondered how a sadhu could know about Johnny Walker. It's a form of whiskey. And I think that Prabhupada must have seen an advertisement for that kind of whiskey in the subways of New York, because he traveled subways. So this verse says that Lord Brahma said, my dear son, in Prabhupada's words, O dear son, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. So Lord Brahma is considered very great because he has done some wonderful things, and even though he is considered the most advanced person in the universe, or he's more of an engineer than a creator, but he's known as the creator because he created everything. And in Nectar of Instruction, which was one of the things that Prabhupada, it's one of the writings of Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada said that it is a very important book, and it has instructions on not only on how to be Krishna conscious, but how to advance in Krishna consciousness and how to avoid Krishna consciousness. So in the second verse of Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction, he says, Utsahan Nishchayat Daryat. The one has to be enthusiastic. Without enthusiasm, one cannot become Krishna consciousness. But that's followed by Utsahan Nishchayat. One has to be very determined. And Utsahan Nishchayat Daryat. Daryat means very patient. One has to be patient in Krishna consciousness. Because it doesn't happen overnight that one can become Krishna conscious, just like people are at Krishna Village and Krishna Pad and Krishna Ashram. They're gradual progressions towards purity and Krishna consciousness. And in that verse, Rupa Goswami also says that prajalpo niyamagraha, we should not engage in conversation which is not related to Krishna. And niyamagraha means being attached to regulations or following regulations purely on their own merit. That one can follow regulations but not be necessarily Krishna consciousness. There was an example of Krishna approaching some Brahmins, or he didn't directly approach them. He had his acolytes approach them, and they said, Krishna is very hungry. What can we do? And the Brahmins, who were very attached to the rituals of their progressing in Krishna consciousness, said, well, we can't do anything until the yajna is over. On the other hand, the wives of these Brahmins, they immediately surrendered all the foodstuffs that was on the altar to be offered. They offered it to Krishna straight away, without even asking any questions. So they are considered more advanced than their husbands, who are following these things. And in the third verse of Upadeshamrita, Prabhupada quotes Rupa Goswami saying, Utsahan Nishchayat Daryat Tat Tat Karma. Those are the principles that one has to follow. Sangatyaga Satovrite means that one should avoid conversations, Sangatyaga, that are not related to Krishna. One can talk about politics, one can talk about what's going on in the newspapers, one can talk about many things, or scientific things that have to do with computers, that have to do with medicine, which have to do with communications, but they have nothing to do with Krishna. So that should be avoided. Things should be done according to Krishna. Prabhupada also gave the example that sometimes a man has to go to the office and do a lot of work that's seemingly not related to Krishna, but he has pictures on his desk of his wife and children. So in a way, he's doing all of what he's doing because he's dedicated to them. He's doing it all for them. So in a sense, whatever we do, even though it seems to be unrelated to Krishna, can be related to Krishna if we're doing it because we want to engage in Krishna consciousness. If we're doing it to make money, the money can be used for Krishna consciousness. Actually, Prabhupada said in Nectar of Devotion that Rupa Goswami divided his great wealth. He was a very wealthy person, so that 50% could be used for propagating Krishna consciousness, and 25% could be used for personal emergencies, and 25% could be used for other things, personal necessities. So those things are mandatory for devotees that are related to Krishna consciousness. So these are some of the basic principles that Rupa Goswami mentioned, that we have to be Krishna conscious, and these are some of the ways that we can become more Krishna conscious, by avoiding talking about things that are not related to Krishna, and by avoiding contact, intimate contact. It's not that intimate contact is wrong. Sometimes we have intimate contact with our friends, with our spouses, with our children, with our parents, and sometimes we can appreciate their level of Krishna consciousness. But to talk about it with other people, to talk so-called small talk and things that are not related to Krishna, are not very important. But we have to have some. This is association with devotees. Association means intimate contact. We can talk about our realizations with Krishna consciousness about these people, and it's important to associate with people who we consider are more advanced than we are, so we can learn from them and we can speak about Krishna consciousness with them. So association means intimate association, not just any association. Of course, to preach, sometimes, very often, we have to speak. For those who are book distributors, we have to know that we sometimes have to speak Krishna consciousness with people who are very inimical. Yeah, in the beginning anyway. There's an incident, someone told me about this that happened, I don't know when it happened, maybe a few years ago or a year ago, but there was a book table somewhere here in the Gold Coast, and there were people across the road that were throwing empty, at least they were empty, whiskey bottles at the devotees, so they would hopefully hit them. And one came very close, and the devotee felt the swish of the bottle. And then somehow or other, these devotees came to the devotees personally, and they talked about, what are you doing? What kind of things are you selling? What is that Krishna consciousness? What's the value of it? And he began to preach to them and say that these are books about God, about Krishna, and you should read them. And so he was able to actually give them some books, and they took them in. They kind of reluctantly took them, and then they came back a little while later and apologized for their misbehavior and said that they had read the books and the books were very important for them. And so sometimes preaching to people who are either inimical or unknown to Krishna consciousness has its benefits, and this is a way it can happen. And Krishna consciousness giving books is a very valuable thing, even though people don't understand the books, but they don't even read them. Maybe if they look at one word or one sentence or one phrase or one shloka, they're getting benefit. And that's the benefit of Bhava Grahi Janardana, how Krishna is very, very kind to anyone who takes even a baby step towards Krishna consciousness, even by reading one word or taking one book. He's advancing in his own way towards Krishna consciousness. So we'll stop there. If there's any comments or questions that on anything that I've said or anything that you want to talk about, now's the time to ask. If there isn't anything, we'll yes, Ram.
one of the offences is to preach to inimical people or faithless people. So it seems like there must be a great art to a distributor out on the street there, that so many people are inimical, but still you have to somehow approach them in such a way they're not going to become envious, or so how to do that?
How to do what?
How to preach to these people that are not very receptive.
Well, we have to approach anyone and everyone, whether they're inimical or not. And even if people take a book because they want to get rid of the preacher, that's a benefit too, because at least they're taking a book, and maybe someday they'll open it and look at it instead of just throwing it in the garbage. So they can benefit even in that way. So even approaching inimical and people that are unwilling to associate with devotees and do that in their life as a regular thing has its benefits. So we do approach everybody, whoever they are. And if a book distributor approaches 100 people and 99 people refuse to give a donation, that one person who takes a book and gives a donation is very valuable. And that makes the person's day successful. Even if it's only 1%, it's a success. So that's the meaning of preaching. It's a thankless task, but it's done for a reason. And that's the reason. The reason is that anyone who can even take a book for inimical reasons is benefited. Does that help? So any other points or questions? None? Okay, I guess we'll stop there. Thank you very much. Shri Krishna Sankirtan Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.